So when I was 18 years old, I had to get my tonsils removed. I used to get chronic bronchitis, and my doctor finally told me, you know what, Laura, we're just going to go ahead and take them out. It's going to feel like the worst sore throat of your life, but tonsils are basically just like germ sacks in the back of your throat. You don't need them. And I remember feeling excited because I was like, oh, sweet, I get to take a week off of work for like a really sore throat. That's awesome. Okay, I have given birth to a child, so this is going to be no big deal. How wrong I was. I go and I get the tonsillectomy done, and everything was going good for the first couple of days. Like, besides the excruciating ear, head, and throat pain that was like literally the worst pain I have ever felt in my entire life, everything was going smoothly until a couple of days later, my incisions for my tonsillectomy opened up. I'm sitting on my mom's back porch when all of a sudden I notice blood is filling in my mouth. So I run to the bathroom, lean over the toilet, and like something from The Exorcist, I open my mouth and blood was spewing everywhere, like literally just pouring like a steady stream. My mom rushes to the bathroom because I'm like, Mom, oh my God, what? Like blood is pouring out of my mouth. She is screaming on the phone with 911. 911 comes to my house. As soon as they show up, it stops bleeding. So they go to leave, but they tell my mom before they leave, like if it starts again, she needs to go back to the emergency room. I swear to God, as soon as they left, it started pouring blood again. So my mom rushes me to the ER. I go back into surgery. As they are giving me the medication to put me under, the doctor jokingly asks me like, hey Laura, do you want anything to drink? I am 18 years old, and I look at him like all delirious, fading out of consciousness. My mom is standing right there, and I was like, I would love a Jack and Coke, please. And my mom is standing there so embarrassed, so mortified. She's like, I have no idea why she would say that. She doesn't drink alcohol, which is not true. So surgery goes well the second time, right? Everything is going pretty good other than being in the most excruciating pain of my entire life. Like, I would literally rather have 20 C-sections than go through a tonsillectomy ever again. But a few weeks later, I realized that I had not gone poop in a while. And so I'm sitting there like my stomach really hurts, and I'm like, God, when was the last time I used the restroom? My doctor did not tell me that I needed to take stool softeners when I was on heavy narcotics, because when you get a tonsillectomy, it is a major surgery and it is extremely painful, so they put you on pretty heavy narcotics. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I really have to poop, I think. And so I try to go. And I thought the tonsillectomy was bad. This turned into the absolute worst moment of my life, trying to sit on the toilet and push out what felt like an incredibly large boulder out of my butthole, and nothing was coming out. Like, I literally had what felt like a boulder sitting in my butthole that I could not push out. I'm pretty sure I was bleeding and everything, and I was in tears every time I would try to go. So my mom tells me like, oh my God, Laura, you should have been taking stool softeners, because recap, if you are on heavy narcotics, you should be taking stool softeners, which I did not know, so I didn't take them. So about a week passes. Nothing has come out yet. I am now in an incredibly uncomfortable state, to the point where I finally decide, you know what? I'm going to the ER. I can't deal with this, which is embarrassing in itself. Imagine going to the ER and being like, what is your reason for being here today? Well, I haven't gone poop in like a month, and every time I tried, like I'm literally in tears and I'm bleeding out of my butthole because it is so rock hard. Have you taken stool softeners? Yes, I have, but nothing is working. Milk of Miralax, or milk of magnesia, Miralax, like whatever, nothing is working. This boulder poop will not come out of my butthole. Now, I'm still in pain from the tonsillectomy, and now my butthole is in pain too. And they tell me, it just needs to pass. There's nothing we can do for you. Like, literally, there is nothing you can do for me? I'm in the emergency room and I can't poop. It's been like a month. There is a boulder in my butthole. What do you mean you can't do anything for me? They sent me home. Like, no joke. Sent me home with nothing. Said, I'm sorry, it just has to pass. And I'm 18 years old, so I'm like, okay, I'm terrified to go poop at this point, because every time I have tried to go poop, like, I'm literally in tears and pretty sure I'm bleeding out of my butthole. Like, that's how bad it was. That's how rock hard it was, and none of the stool softeners that I've been taking were working. So one day, I finally just muster up the strength, and I'm like, you know what? I'm too uncomfortable. This is coming out today. So I sit on the toilet, I squat, I'm pushing, and I finally see some of that hard poop coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, it's about to go down. But it got stuck halfway out. Stuck halfway out my butthole. And I'm like, I can't suck this bad boy back in because it is hard as a rock. And I am now very uncomfortable and I can't just leave it there. So I am sitting on the toilet in complete mental disarray because I have half of a rock hard poop sticking out of my butthole that I can't suck back into my butthole, and I can't leave it there and get off the toilet. And I'm like, this is coming out. I don't care what I have to do. It's coming out. And I look around the bathroom while I'm sitting there very uncomfortable, and I notice that there is a spoon on the bathroom counter, and I'm like, that's weird. But you know what? I'm going to use it to my advantage. So I take the spoon, and I'm like, I'm just going to like flick it off. Try to flick it off so I can just like deal with this. You know what I'm saying? So I bend over, and I'm like trying to flick this poop off. When that moment, the bathroom door bursts open. It is my mother, who looks me dead in my face and is like, what are you doing? Is that one of my spoons? You're gonna puncture your bowel. Why are you sticking a spoon up your butthole? And I'm like, excuse me, you should have knocked, and I'm not sticking a spoon up my butthole. What are you talking about? So my mom is screaming at me for using a spoon to try to flick off this rock hard poop that is halfway sticking up my butthole that I can't get off, and I was not trying to use my fingers. So I grabbed that spoon that was randomly sitting on the bathroom counter, and I was trying to flick it off, and she's screaming at me, and then she is laughing at me because it's not like she can help me, and I am stuck. I'm 18 years old. I got rock poop sticking out of my butt, and my throat hurts from the tonsillectomy, and I'm just like a miserable human being at that point. And eventually I was able to flick off that poop, and later it finally all came out because I was like, you know what? This is not good enough. I filled up my bathtub with hot water and sat in there, and I was like, I am not getting out until this poop comes out of my butthole. I swear to God, I can't live like this anymore. And after immense pushing, literally a boulder of the hardest poop you have ever seen in your entire life came out of me. Came out of my body into the water I was sitting in, and I just did a little scoop ski out. So I just like did a little scoop ski, put it in the trash, because I was like, if I put it in the toilet, it's definitely going to clog. So, problem solved, right? I have finally been able to poop, and I had been taking Miralax, so once that boulder came out, later on I was able to pass everything no problem. And you think the story's over, but it's not over. My mother, who burst into the bathroom and saw me doing all of that, decided that it would be absolutely hilarious to tell every member of our family and friends of mine, people who came over, strangers, didn't matter, that she caught me sticking a spoon up my butthole to try to get this rock hard poop out, which is not true. I was just trying to flick it off. And so every time, for years later, and to this day, if I am around my mom and I say, I'll be right back, I have to use the bathroom, she'll look at me and be like, don't forget the spoon, Laura.